Hi everyone. We're going to sketch out our idea for a device that will squeeze all of the toothpaste out of a toothpaste tube. So, the back end of our toothpaste tube is flat. We're going to need something that has an opening that is just big enough for the toothpaste to fit inside of it. That way, when it slides all the way over to the front, it's going to squeeze all of the toothpaste up into the front of the tube. Oh, these are some bad drawings. Whoop. And the end of this will be perfectly flat. So, since I've made it an oval, we'll make a design that looks like a football. We are going to put together the design for a simple football-shaped toothpaste squeezer. Since this tool is designed to squeeze everything out of a toothpaste tube, the important thing is the slot in the middle. So we're going to start by making a hole. So I'm going to move my example out of the way here, and we'll take a box, and we're going to make the hole the right size. So first, we need it to be very thin, not so thin that you can't fit anything in it, but pretty thin. So let's make it 2 millimeters in this direction. Oop, there we go, 2. And then we're going to need it to be wide enough to fit the back end of the toothpaste tube. Now I measured some myself, and 65 millimeters is enough to fit anything in there. But you might want to measure your own and see if the thing that you want to squeeze all the paste out of will fit. So make sure that you measure the things your tools are going to be used on, and we can make sure that they're printed at the right size. So now let's make our simple design around this hole here. So we're going to take a cylinder, and we'll change its color just for fun, since we're only going to be printing it in one color of plastic. And we'll increase the number of sides so it's smoother. We can stretch it out using our handles in enough shape to make it football-like. And then we need to make sure that our slot here is right in the middle of it. So I'm going to go ahead and select both shapes, and we'll click on the Align tool, and we'll hit the center in our little alignment dots so that our slot is right in the middle of our football shape. And I'll click on an empty space to turn off the Align tool. Let's look at it from the side here. We don't need our squeezer here to be as tall as this. Shapes default to 20 millimeters. So instead, let's make it pretty thin so it's nice and light, but also not thin enough that it will bend or break. So let's click on our handle here, and we'll change the height to 6. Then we're going to add the details to make this a football. And we'll get a box here, change its color so we know what it's supposed to be. And we'll drag our shape out here in the center for that center line. Make it a little bit smaller than our cylinder. And just like before, I want it to be lined up in the center. And I also don't want it to be so tall. So I'll go ahead and drag the height handle down so it just sticks up 1 or 2 millimeters from the top. So we just have a detail there for when we paint this. We won't paint over the line here in the middle. And I'm going to select both our football and the line, and we'll use the Align tool to center it. And we know that's lined up with our slot. We'll go ahead and make a duplicate of this so I don't have to change all the features of my box. And we're going to stretch this guy out to be our laces on the side there. And looking at it from above, I think we'll want one to be right in the middle. So once again, we'll select those two objects, the Align tool, and put them right in the center. And I can take this one and duplicate it and move it over and duplicate it again. Oops, moved over in the same direction, so let's move it back to the other side. There we go. So now we've got all the elements of our design together. We're going to select everything at once, click on Group, and our details and our cut are going to be made all at once. And if I want to see the colors I chose so that I can remember how I want to paint something, I can click on Multicolor here. We'll lose all that color information when we export later, but it's nice to see. So now that you've got a working design, you can think of your own details or things you can add to it. You can make your toothpaste squeezer into a little character or whatever you want. The only important thing is that it is fairly thin, about 6 millimeters, and that it has a slot that's 2 millimeters across, or 2 millimeters thick, and as long across as will fit the toothpaste tube that you have. Next time, we will set up our football for print.
Okay, so let's start to print our design. We're going to print our football toothpaste squeezer. What I'm going to do is click on the top here so I can easily select my design. I'm clicking and dragging. That selects my design. I'm going to go to export. Make sure you're in the download tab with the selected shape highlighted. We're going to download this as an STL file. When I click that, it'll download the STL file. Then I'll head over to the Cura software. Here I'll import or open up the STL file that we just downloaded from Tinkercad by clicking the open button. It's in my downloads folder, football toothpaste squeezer. As you can see, that's the actual object. With Cura, you can actually rotate the view. I like to look around the object. If there are any red markers, that means it might need support and it's not touching the build plate. So I'm gonna go through looking at the front view, the top view, the left view, and the right view. As you will notice, it's not very easy to see the details of your design, but using your mouse you can actually scroll in to see the design. This is a relatively flat design, so we're not gonna actually experience a lot of problems with this. We've set this up with our Creality CR10 printer. We're going to be printing in PLA, which is the standard filament that we normally print in. I'm going to use this to set up the print settings. We're going to go with the standard quality, which actually gives us a 0.2 mm layer height. Shell, we're going to leave as standard. And infill around 20% is perfect for this type of object. The material, like I said, was PLA. PLA prints in different temperatures, from 185 degrees all the way to 200 up. We found that one of our brands work better with at 210. That's what we're going to go with. The bed temperature is just set to warm. PLA doesn't actually need a hot bed, unlike some other filaments, so this heat setting should work. We're going to leave the speed, travel, and cooling as it is. This is a flat print, so we do not need to generate any support. It should print pretty well as it is. For build plate adhesion, again, because it's such a flat print, I do not expect any real problems, and so we're going to leave it as none. And then we're going to click on this blue slice button. It gives me an estimate. It'll take about an hour, 58 minutes to print this. It will use 9 grams and 2.3 meters of filament. I would also recommend we try and preview it. The preview gives us a sense of how the actual printing will take place. So you can go from left to right, but also from top to bottom. So that gives you a sense, and this with a print as simple as this, is usually not a big problem. We can mostly predict that it will work properly, but once you have complex designs, it's always really useful to do preview, just to potentially identify issues that you might have. Alright, and I'm gonna save this to file right next to my print file there. That's how we do the slicing.